Green lights mean go. This is going to be a fun video for me because we're going to talk about internet. Obviously, if we're going to live on the road and do the things that we're doing, how did I overcome it? Because I just got my green lights. Oh, let me show you. Let me show you my speed test. Sheila,
What?
we're good. We're good. We got internet.
I'm very excited about that.
You should be. We had a hard time uploading videos and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you what the solution I came up with, how it's going to work, the costs, and how I installed it. Ooh, she's so excited. You're not going to be, she's probably not going to be part of this one, are you? Are you?
No, this is, you geek out on that.
I'm not going to geek out. This is good. This is good. If you're wondering how to do this, let's look at the speed. This is the true test, right? Go. Oh, 32, 32, 32, 33, almost 34. The big one is upload speed. 5. There it goes up. Ramping up, ramping up. 10. Almost gonna hit 20. Sheila's not very impressed, but I am.
Because I don't know what those numbers mean.
This means that we can upload videos and not have to sit there and wait for our hotspots and stuff to do it for 3 hours.
Well,
this means it'll do, our uploads will do maybe 30 minutes on a 20-minute, 25-minute video on uploads. And it also means we can run our Alexa. And it also means that I have these cameras I want to put on the outside of the rig that we can monitor everything, that'll tie into our whole network system. And it'll run while we go down the street while we're unplugged. Oh, I thought of that too.
You're very excited.
I am. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to show you the antenna, and then we'll kind of go from there.
A man and a woman left their home to switch things up and go on the road. And they didn't know where they would go, but it's gotta be better than staying home. They switched it up. They switched it up.
So, before I go too far in depth on what we used, how we used it, I got to show you kind of the beginning on how I did the install and putting the antenna up, because that was an adventure in itself. And then I'll share with you the company I used and how much it cost. So far I'm stinking ecstatic. So, is that even a word? Stinking ecstatic? I don't know if it's, it doesn't matter. Alright, I'm going to go back down. Antenna is now up. That was the speeds with it being down, but I don't think it'll affect too much. So we're gonna see. So we're gonna go back about probably 60 days ago when I first started this adventure. I thought I had a solution. The solution didn't work. Then the rig had to go back to the dealership. So I had shot all this footage of me putting everything together, but then I could never get the internet to work until now, and I found the solution for that. So let's go back and I'll show you how we did the install and all the components. Enjoy the time lapse, and then we'll come back to the present. Well, if you're like me, you're sitting there going, where do you start? I actually have no idea, but I do know that I have to find a way to put my antenna on the roof. So I went with the ProxyCast antenna. So with ProxyCast to my understanding, the ProxyCast does really well with signal from just about anywhere. And I got to find a way to mount this. So I had looked at several different video options, and I like this one where This is basically a nylon adjustable ratchet mount. It's basically made for boats. Dropping everything. And so this 3/4 inch, and this actually has a screw on it, so I'm going to use this to screw in. And my goal is, once I get this attached, there's a bracket in here. I'll take the bracket for the proxy mount, and I actually will put it on here, and then I'll use that for the antenna, and then this will go on the roof that will be able to go up and down. So that's the goal. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I've seen other people do. So we're gonna just see how it all plays out, because quite honestly, I have no idea. Until you start doing something, you really never know how it's gonna shake out. Okay, first things first, I went ahead and assembled the proxy cast. So again, this is omnidirectional antenna, and this is something you would use for like a boat to mount like a mast. So, and then I used a T-bracket, and it screws in, and then I just drilled some holes through the mounting hardware through the T, and then I used some locking nuts. So this way, when I have it up there, I can loosen it up with a little wing nut, and then this will lay down. So next thing's next, I have to go up on the roof, and now I get to figure out how I'm going to mount the wires coming through the roof. And I have a plan for that. I watched a couple of videos on making an access port to the top. So my plan is to use the little utility cabinet in the garage area, drill a hole through the roof, and then in the roof I'll use a step down, and then I plan on using a PVC pipe that's about 1 inch, so I can have multiple wires come through if I decide in the future I want to have additional things on the roof coming through. So that's my plan. That's the plan I'm sticking to. I don't know. I know I'm going to have to cut the roofing material, seal it all up. My concern is that where the wires are, when we did a tour at the Momentum tour, I was able to take a couple pictures on how the wires run up on top, because I had a plan in my head that at one point I would need to know that. So I believe where I'm drilling, there should be no wires. It's my biggest concern of this whole project, is making sure I don't hit one of the supports, and I'm in a hollow space. That's where I need to be, and I worry about hitting any of the electrical wires as I drill my hole. So those are my two concerns on this whole project, and then I'll go through and mount this up there, run it through the junction box, and then we'll start on the inside. So that's my next thing that I'm working on. So let's get to that. Okay, so the goal here is I'm going to use the box. I'm going to go up into that corner, go through the roof, and then I have the pipe I'm going to feed down, which is going to be about 1 inch in diameter. So I'll have to do a step up to get this. My goal here, though, is that I don't believe there's a seam, because there's a seam here. So my goal here is not to hit any support structures, so I have a nice clear hollow space without hitting any wires. So I'm looking that I'm going to be close enough to the side that I don't have that worry. That's my thought process, so we'll see where it goes. Okay, holes drilled through. Thank goodness that was kind of uneventful. So we are now I gotta now make the hole for the junction box. So I chose a white junction box, a little bit bigger, that can hold a lot more wires in case I wanna run stuff through the sides of it and then I got different couplers that will seal it. So this will come off, and then I'll probably drill my hole on one side, so it leaves me room. When I go over the top of it, it'll leave me room in the box itself. So if I go off center, I probably will have more room in the future, depending on what I want to do. A little blood, that never hurt anyone, right? Yeah, I think that's where we're at. Like I said, this is a work in progress. This is, I can't remember what they call it. It's just a standard white junction box, and then I'll use it to seal everything up once I'm done. So, and these side pieces are actually just rubber. And then I bought adapters that will screw into it from here. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go right here off center. So the goal here is I cut the hole, I cut all around it, so I'm at a good base. The plywood's about through, probably 1/2 inch. And then I have about, well, not very far. As you can see, it's not very deep to the inside of that cabinet. So I cut my hole in here. I'm gonna prop this in here. Again, this is my own thing. So, and then what I plan on doing is taking that sealant, it's just basically that lap sealant, so auto leveling for this type of stuff. And I'm gonna seal around this, so nothing can go down. And then I plan on sealing around the box itself. I will put the junction for the antenna on the back side, because you don't want wind coming and getting inside this. You want everything going that way. And so that's kind of my plan currently. So we'll anchor this down into place, and then we'll see how it all slips together when I'm finished. It's another thing here. So in this box, I'm going to use basically a galvanized screw that has a rubber grommet on it inside the box. You don't want to take any chances of there ever being water. Another thing that's just something good for you to do, don't lay anything sharp down on your roof as you're working on it. I actually did roofing career for a long time. That's how come I know TPO membranes, things like that. So just be cautious when you're up here, just so you don't puncture any additional holes and cause yourself more problems in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the box and seal everything up. All right, we're wrapping up the installation of the interior after I ran the wires. So remember, this is a Momentum 395 MS. So here's what I ended up doing was, I noticed on the bunk up here, I could come through and get into electrical. So I could actually have an electrical placement on the other side. So basically I bought an extension cord, multiple ports. I poked a hole through. I'm gonna basically wire this down up here so it's against the wall, and then did a flat plug, which I think will work out nicely. And so as long as that's against the wall, and then in here, as you can see, I'll do a close-up on this, strips there, and then I put my router up on the top, the Mophie router. This will be our first setup. After looking at many different options that are available, this whole setup was $300 for the router. The antenna on top, I believe, was around $100 to $120. And that's how we have it all set up. And now I have to plug everything in and get it configured on the computer to see how everything works. So there's your install. I think it turned out nice. Okay, so we're back. You're all caught up. so here's my box. Like, this is the Momentum 395 MS. Most of them have these boxes up here. I alleviated the problem of when we hit the road of not having internet, because you won't have power unless I ran the generator the whole time, and this wouldn't be wired to basically the battery. So here's the way I'm doing it. You might think of something different. Preliminarily, I put this hole through the wall to plug in on the other side where there's an electrical outlet, and then I came in, but then I was like, that's not going to help me on the road. So then I bought a battery backup. So I plugged the battery backup in. According to everything I've read, I should get 9 hours to 10 hours of battery backup before we go to get to the next spot and we plug in, or we start running our generators. That should be plenty of time to do that. Mounted the Mophie here. You see, here's my wire that runs up, and then I have everything kind of connected in the corner. I kept the box for basically you guys' benefit to see what we are. Now this is the 7. So they have a Sim 7. This is the one I purchased. So we'll kind of go off that here in a second when I explain to you Olive IP. And then my original plan was, I got this T-Mobile T-Mobile phone, and I was going to pull the card out and put in the router for unlimited, and that doesn't work. The way they have it configured, it won't work. So this phone and adding the line was pretty much a useless idea. That was my original intent until I found my solution. Then I'm going to use these cameras that will run all off the system, to put one on each side of the rig and one in the front or in the back, depending on where we're going to be, because we're going to be boondocking and stuff. And I don't know, I've got issues, so I like to see things and record things, and so there you have it as far as that goes. What's the solution? What am I using? And if I would have known about this earlier, would I made different choices? It's all lumped together, and the website is Olive IP. I know it sounds goofy. So Olive IP is actually a company that works with rural internet. We bought the Mophie separate, and I did the research online. I found another YouTuber that does this stuff. I came up and copied his system, then I had to figure out how to put it all together. So I bought the Mophie, then I bought the antenna, the proximate antenna, and put that up. But then I didn't have the connectivity that needed to get done. So I called Mophie and I said, I don't know what the problem is, I don't know what to do. And they said, well, you need to reach out to Olive IP. Olive IP has a subscription. Let's go here real quick. Well, Sheila's doing her thing. So Olive IP has a subscription base. And so what we ended up doing was I called them and I said, here's my situation. And they were like, oh yeah, we would love to help you out. So what they ended up doing was I got a SIM card from them. The subscription model is $110 a month. And the best part is it has about 800 gigs, was it 800 gigs a month, and it's not throttled. I think it's not throttled up to almost 50 or 100 gigs. And then he said depending on where we are in the United States, there might be some variances. It does run off the T-Mobile network, which is awesome because I have that on my phone anyway. So these were all nuances. Well, then I was like, that's great, but if I would have known all this at the beginning, you can actually go in to Olive IP, you can actually order the Mophie, they will configure the card, they will send you that, you can do a trial for X amount of time period, and then after that you can decide if you're going to pay for it. You can have it all lumped together for around that $400, $500 price range. And I know there's other systems out there, I've watched some other YouTubers talk about them, but so far I've been super happy. Now it's only been 24 hours of me coming on and off trying to figure out what to do, and I'm pretty excited that it all works now and I'm not having any issues whatsoever. For me, it's going to seem like it's a great, I don't have to worry about park Wi-Fi's. Now if we boondock, I don't have to worry about trying to upload videos to you guys. So I'm really excited about that because internet is now part of our daily life, especially I do some trading and stuff, so it really is going to make a huge difference to us. So let's recap. If you wanted to use the system, just go to Olive IP, go to Mophie, they'll have all the plans. You can submit the plan that you would like to use. You can actually order the Mophie. Now the antenna and stuff on the roof, that's all extra. That's on you. You have to figure out how to do that if you want to have the omnidirectional antenna. I think to me that's kind of key in this component, but You can use just the router with the different directional things on there. I just don't think you're going to get the distance. According to what they have told me, they're going to add 2 more plans coming out. They just haven't had an opportunity to do that yet because they're working out details. If by chance you decide that you want to do this, we actually get a referral. So if you use my name, Todd Conitzer, and say switch it up, they will actually pay, I believe, pay $25. So all that would do is go towards our internet service. So there's a shameless plug, but I didn't even know they offered that until they told me on the phone. So that's kind of cool. So just plug our name, Todd Conitzer, switch it up, and see what happens. But I hope this helps you have some idea on what you need to do for your internet solutions on the road. And again, I'm a newbie. I'm pretty pumped about this one. This one I'm pretty pumped about. So, because it infects everything we do. We have like a mobile picture frame that our kids can send pictures to that we can see on the road. We're gonna have cameras on the outside. I'll be able to run Alexa. I'm excited. I really am. Hope you enjoyed this video today. If I missed something because I was too excited and I skipped over something, I apologize. But just remember oliveip.com, pop our name. So there you go. There's my first, it's almost like my first little tutorial type video. It's just a solution that I had, so good luck.